If this is your first time installing a pre-hung door, don't worry. I'm currently working on a remodel where I've got the perfect case study. I've already prepped my doorway by removing the existing jamb from the previous door. I honestly just wasn't sure if I was gonna use a pre-hung door until I went shopping. After the door jamb is out, come back with a hammer to seat those vertical 2x4 studs in case they had been pried away from the wall at all. I also used my multi-tool with a flat blade to cut the excess drywall hanging past my framing. Trim or door casing is gonna cover the space between the jamb and over the wall, so getting this out of the way will just make work easier. This way the drywall doesn't get in the way of me using shims. The opening for my doorway is a little bit oversized for a 30-inch door. Mine measures 33 inches, and typically this would be about 32 and a half inches wide. Let me set this door inside of the frame, and I'll show you why. In general, you want about a ½ inch on either side of your door jamb and the stud. That gives you enough room that you can use shims, but the space isn't too wide that you've got to start stacking shims up. And if I push the door against this side of the frame, you can see that this space is a lot wider than I can cover with a single layer of shims on either side of the door. But there's a really easy workaround for this. I got some 5/8 inch plywood and I cut a bunch of pieces that are about 9 inches long and 3.5 inches wide. I'll use these spacers behind my shims, which will streamline this whole process.
And at this point in time, I wasn't sure if I would use one spacer or if I would put one on each side of the door.
Before I worry about those spacers or my vertical studs, I need to grab a level and check and see if my floor is flat. So this left side is low, so I'm gonna shim this left side up until it does read level. And right there is about perfect. And now I'm gonna use my pencil to mark that line on my shim, and I know that depth is the amount that I need to cut off the right side of the door jamb for our pre-hung door. I'll trim that material off at the bottom using a speed square and my circular saw to make sure I get a good cut. Doing this is gonna make sure that each side of our door jamb touches the floor and that our door is gonna sit square in its frame. Next, I'm gonna mark my hinge locations on each vertical stud. I'm gonna check for plumb on my hinge side first, that's important, and let's see how it looks. And I can already tell that to get it plumb, I'm gonna need to move the top towards the inside quite a bit. And the top on this side also needs to move towards the middle. I might end up needing a spacer on each side at the top. The opening in the framing is about a ½ inch smaller at the bottom compared to the top.
The reason I marked my hinge location earlier is so that I could put this blocking as well as my shims behind the hinges. This will provide better reinforcement and a sturdier install. With those three in, I put the door in place to see what the spacing looked like on the opposite side of the door. And there was still a pretty good sized gap, about 1 inch.
Since the bottom of our doorway is our narrow part, I won't necessarily need to build up shims, so I'm gonna go ahead and use another one of these 5/8 inch spacers to fill in this space.
And for reference, I'm using 2-inch long 18 gauge nails. Also, I should note, you're not limited to using just a 5/8 inch spacer.
If your doorway is oversized by a different amount, just adjust the thickness of the spacers that you use. And now it's time to shim and level out our hinge side. I know I don't need any shims on the bottom on my hinge side, so I'm gonna put my level in place and start here at the top since I can.
Grab 2 shims and push one in on each side equidistant. That way, it creates a flat plane for your door jamb.
That looks perfect, so I'm gonna tack these shims in place, and it's a good thing to switch to a shorter 3/4 or 1 inch nail. And next, I'll shim out away from that middle spacer until it meets the edge of my level.
And be sure to turn down the pressure on your nail gun.
And this should be the last time we have to put our door in place. Everything should line up and we'll be able to tack it with our nail gun where it needs to be, making sure that everything is straight, level, and flush with the drywall on both sides.
If you've also got an oversized door opening, it's helpful to grab a scrap block of wood. That way you can use it as a flat, plain reference guide and line up the edge of your door jamb with the face of the drywall. I'd recommend a 2-inch or 2.5 inch long nail for this. For structural strength, I'm adding a 2.5 inch long construction screw right through the middle of this door jamb, through our shims, the blocking, and into that 2x4 stud. I've seen quite a few people recommending online to throw a 2.5 inch or 3 inch long screw through one of the hinge holes, but I'd recommend doing this. No matter what, we'll have to backfill nail holes, so adding filler to these screw locations is no problem. At this point, we know our door should be level and straight in the frame, so we just want to make sure the gap on the opposite wall is consistent.
This gap looks perfect, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my level again, and I'll shim the bottom 2 hinge locations to make sure that the door jamb is flat from the bottom to the top.
I just want to get this really close while the door is open and I've got easy access to shims.
There's no light leak or gap between the straight edge and the door jamb, so I know that everything is running straight, and the level reads super flat. But I am gonna double check it by closing the door. Even though the level read plumb, I can tell that the gap up here is a little bit tighter than the gap at the bottom. So I am gonna shim this out just a little bit more.
The more remodeling I've done in my life, the more I've realized pretty much no wall, surface, or anything is perfectly level, so you'll definitely have to adjust as you go. These are all small adjustments within a 1/16 of an inch, which is no big deal.
That's perfect. So now I'll grab my nail gun and just pack this in place before I sink some screws. That looks awesome!
If your framing is also oversized like mine is, make sure your screw is long enough to sink into the 2x4 stud rather than just the spacers, so you might need longer than a 2.5 or 3-inch screw. It's not totally necessary to shim and screw the top of your door jamb in place, but if you need to work the reveal a little bit, that's totally fine. I'm using a flush trim saw to trim the shims flush, go figure, but you could also use a razor blade and just snap them off.
This is super awesome, everything went great. I just got back from the store where I picked up a new handle for the door, and we'll get that installed right after a word from today's sponsor, Squarespace. If you want a new website, online store, or just a custom domain, look no further than Squarespace. You can do it all there, and the best part is you need 0 website building experience. And now, with Fluid Engine, designing your new website just got even easier with their enhanced drag and drop technology on both desktop and mobile. Plus, there are no limits to the number of products that you can sell using a Squarespace store, whether that's a digital good, a physical good, or a service product. And if you're somebody that wants to take payments in person, Squarespace has got you covered. By connecting the Square card reader to the Squarespace app, all of your sales, orders, and inventory are up to date online and in person. If you want to learn more, make sure and follow my link in the description at squarespace.com/modernbuilds, where you can build out your entire Squarespace site before entering any of your credit card info. And then when it's time to make your new site live, don't forget to use my code MODERNBUILDS for 10% off your first site, store, or domain through Squarespace. I had a Squarespace site long before they were a sponsor. I recommended them then, and I'm proud to recommend them now. So big thanks to Squarespace, links below, and big thanks to y'all for watching the video.
Installing a new doorknob is way easier if you make sure that the door isn't moving while you're trying to do it. Every doorknob will have slightly different instructions, even though they're mostly similar. I'm still gonna need to paint my door, but it's good to do a quick install to make sure everything lines up, and it allows you to go ahead and drill your pilot hole locations so that installation when there is paint on goes really smooth. The last step for the handle is to get the strike plate installed. If any of your hardware doesn't match the routered out space in your pre-existing door jamb, just use a sharp chisel to alter it so that it does fit and that it's centered. And this shim is just a little extra support behind that strike plate. And I was happy to see that it latched perfect first try.
Super bro.
The last step in finishing a pre-hung door installation is trimming it out. This is also called door casing, and what I'm using is just simple square trim. I put each piece in place, and then I marked where I want the inside of my 45-degree miter to go. Then I used my 12-inch speed square to mark it onto my trim piece and cut it with my circular saw. Now, of course, this is totally easier with a miter saw, but since I wanted to show a simple installation in case you're just a homeowner or DIYer and you don't have one, I decided to use my speed square as a straight edge and cut it with that circular saw. It's alright if you've got to lift the trim piece a tiny bit to make it meet at the top where you want, and you'll want to go back to those 2-inch long nails and try and attach them into the vertical stud behind the drywall. We'll worry about connecting the trim or the casing to the door jamb later. I just put a third trim board in place at the top of the door and then marked the edges of where I want my miter cuts to be. I marked 45-degree reference lines on the face of my trim, again with the speed square, but I cut them freehand with the circular saw this time. It was just a little easier for me. I made sure not to take the line when I cut it, that way I didn't cut away too much material, and I found that I needed to shave off about a 32nd of an inch, probably less. Doing this gave me a nice fit where I got a really great corner on the outside. Cutting your trim with a circular saw won't give you as precision results as a perfectly tuned miter saw would, but this trim is going to be painted and a little filler goes a long way. I used 1-inch long nails to go through my 1/2-inch trim and into the door jamb. That way there's a really good connection and there's no visible gap between the board and the door. This is also the time to line up the bottom of your door jamb in case it flares out or in any beneath the bottom spacers or shims. Use wood filler or some kind of spackling compound in all of your nail holes or those countersunk screws. Just make sure and use a punch on all of those nails beforehand. It's also convenient to fill any spaces on your mitered corners. Once it's dry, you can come back with 150 grit sandpaper and smooth it all out, and you're ready for paint.
So there you have it. I really hope you learned something from today's video. I've installed a few doors, but I've got to say, this is my best, most square install I've done. Now I know some of you guys have great advice, especially when it comes to some of these more contractor or construction-oriented projects. So if you've got any helpful advice, please leave that down below. That way we can create a good, helpful learning resource for people that want to take this project on. I also want to say a big thank you for the kind words on my last video. All y'all being supportive was definitely noticed, and trust me, I'm not discouraged with this renovation. We've got a lot of great videos on the way, so make sure and click subscribe and that notification bell. That way you stay up to date. I've got a few more door installs to take care of tomorrow, and then we'll be on to our next step, which might be baseboard trim. I'm not 1000% sure, but make sure and stay tuned. Bye, everybody. It's Mike's first flip.